Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe podcast. We're a Green Bay Packers fan podcast from a couple Wisconsin guys bringing you topical and relevant Packers news, along with our most humble, subjective opinions. This is episode 240. We're recording this on a Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. The Packers lose to the Falcons in Atlanta in week 2. They are resetting to take the Saints this Sunday in week 3 in their first home game of the season. I'm your host, Tay, and joining me in studio tonight is our one and only
Ren. What up, Tay? How we doing? Our first full episode after a loss in the 2023 season.
Yes.
You ready to relive that thing, Tay?
Yeah.
There were like a couple flea flickers in that game. I mean, it had all sorts of drama and inevitably ended in a 1-point Packer loss.
And big L. Now put those down, Ren. It's 240, episode 240, not 240s. So you can drink your sorrows and some other time. But I don't know, like coming off of the loss, we did the first takeaway, and we're going to try to do that as much as possible this season. So that's our first instinct, our first takeaways right after the game. We record a 10-minute episode. We put that out, so check that out. We kind of went through that, so if you missed that, go check it out. But I guess after a few days, Ren, what are you kind of thinking about this loss? Is it bother you? Are you just brushing it aside? Like, do you see some issues, or are you just kind of like taking it in stride?
I mean, yeah, there are issues to take away today because it was Matt LaFleur's decision to retain the defensive coordinator. And everybody questioned that and has questioned it all offseason. And we get more of the same run D. You know, some of the looks that they give the Falcons in some of those, you know, down and distant situations are not the right looks to put players in. I mean, it comes down to that. You're letting a guy like Bijan Robinson, you know, put up 124 yards over almost 7 yards a carry, 6.7 yards a carry.
Yeah.
You know, they just said, stop it. And they had no answer for it.
Right.
That's, again, what's old is new and new is old, Tay. Like I said on the first take, it's disappointing because here we are again. I don't know. I mean, this kind of stuff continues throughout the course of the season when we talk about it. State media talks about it. The national media talks about it, you know, with regard to the same old crap. I mean, how long do you put it up with it, and do you eventually just finally, you know, take your lumps and let go of mid-season? Because you can't, you know, it's the old adage, you know, you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results.
That's just insanity, Ren.
That's the definition of yes.
Well, let me throw it back at you. Not necessarily devil's advocate, but the other side of the I guess perspective. Bijan Robinson is a stud. He comes out of college and he's amazing, and he was doing some really awesome moves that probably would juke most people, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like, okay, he's good, right? Like, that was some of the issue, was like he's just outplayed a defense, and that defense happened to be the Packers. So that's my first point. Like, and yeah, maybe we weren't prepared for it. That's on the coaches. Players weren't put in positions. That's on the coaches. It wasn't like Preston Smith, Devondre Campbell was like off ball, like in cornerback situation against a receiver late in the game or something weird.
And you've got guys like Rashawn Gary missing assignments and Russell Douglas getting mad at him. I mean, it's just I think that was on the Ritter leak out for the touchdown. And so
preparation and planning and putting your players in the right position, that's on coaching. This is the second game though. I guess devil's advocate would be you got to rack up a little more track record this year. Put your blinders on, put your bookends just this year to call for Barry's head this early. I think people pounced on him quickly on this, and maybe it is his fault. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying, like, let's do you step back a little bit and just like say, oh, let's just see what happens here with other better running teams. We're not going to get that this week. Hopefully not, but maybe there might be other ones in the future. But there were other problems too. So that's the third point. There were other problems with this game, and a lot of it was on. And so, like, cumulatively, it was a loss. But I feel like there's too much like pouncing on Barry. Not that I like Barry.
I think
but
it's
I'm just
one of
saying.
the easy ones to pick
Sure.
right away that stands out because it's a familiar theme. People talk about how many first round picks are on the defense. We know the defensive line has massively improved, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from a depth standpoint, the guys they have there to play that are much, much better than they had last year. But at the same time, this is also on the offense, Tay.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan Love, while he leads the league in passer rating and tied for touchdowns, what he's putting up as far as yardage per game is not great.
No.
He is just kind of a get the ball out a little bit and let the receivers, rack up the yards after the catch. His deep ball has not still looked good. That first PI call downfield, it was an underthrown ball.
I think he would have caught it though, don't you?
I don't know, man. It's still underthrown ball. I still have concerns with some of the, deep ball arm talent pieces with Jordan. But the biggest piece, with and he's a first year starter, I get it. But the biggest piece is, listen, the fourth quarter again. I mean, it's on Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love. The offense has to execute. Again, you get one sustained drive, Tay, that potentially doesn't lead to any points, but you burn 5 minutes in a drive. You come up with nothing. They probably don't even get close to beating you if you do that one time in the fourth quarter. Instead, you go 3 and out, 4 and out, and you get a whole 7 yards of offense. That's why this game, yes, it's a lot on Joe Barry, but it's also on Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love because they also had the ability to put the game away. And nobody did. And inevitably, they lose by 1. And that's not, like I said at the end of the first take with you last week, that's not the thing you want to look back at, when you're week 15 and you're maybe a game or two out of potential playoff spot. You got to get those wins, especially when you had a 12-point lead with 15 minutes to play. You can't do that. So the finger to point at anybody gets pointed at a lot of people in regards to that loss.
So, like, I feel like there's a lot of hate and upsetness, if that's a word I want to make up, about this loss. And I don't know, maybe it's like a different week. It's just a different day or something happened with me. I'm not really taking this hard. Like I'm just like going like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I guess what I think this is when we came to the season, we're like, we don't know what we're really going to get here. We have no idea. So we're going to expect them to falter and struggle. And I think that's exactly what this is. So I'm not upset. Like, yeah, we can list the, deficiencies that we saw on Sunday, but like, I guess I'm not like, turning tables over this. Like, I'm not like, and I guess that's why I'm asking these Joe Barry questions, because yes, I think it's warranted. I don't like Joe Barry as the coordinator, but like, are we calling for heads on the second week of the first loss that we've had? And we have to see some trends here and just for the Packers in general, I'm not worried and I expected this. So I guess like, how upset are you about just a loss in general?
I mean, I wasn't like, even as the game was getting out of hand, only a few minutes left, and I knew they're going to inevitably win. I turned off the TV, I went outside. I wasn't like it was when, you watch a Rodgers team with the expectation lose. No, it wasn't there because this team, in all reality, is not a Super Bowl aspiration type of team this year. So no, I didn't take it that way. But again, it doesn't make it any less disappointing.
Right.
Not angry, but disappointing because it's a game they should have won. I mean, one of my big takeaways as a fan watching that team and seeing those two running backs and not having Aaron Jones available makes me go, wow, the Packers really need another quality back. Like, the drop off is massive and they're really thin there. And I know a lot of people say out there, be it the people who do it every day, the couch coaches and anybody in between, that, it's just a thing nowadays. You can insert any running back into a lineup and have some good success in the NFL. Yeah, no.
At least not with the Packers.
You do need two quality running backs, and the Packers do not have that. And once Aaron's out, it's a pretty big black hole there.
We thought going into the season, AJ was gonna be fine. He's gonna be better. He's got this.
I thought he's gonna be still a good complimentary back, knowing it's his last year and that he's probably not going to be back regardless, because he hasn't shown us that he's been worth the second round pick that was used on him. That much I didn't know.
I mean, he's Badzilla now. Like it's like what happened. Like I think we're all super surprised. Maybe we were not surprised, but our expectations were a lot higher than
I think everybody fell in love with the quads.
Yeah,
and we're like, look at this guy. He's built like look at who's built like that. And he's
a fan favorite too. I mean,
he's a few games. Was it the game against the Titans in December a few years ago? Everybody's talking about Henry, and Henry didn't do much, but AJ Dillon was the Henry. I don't know, but it just he hasn't really had many showouts in general as a Packer. So I mean, again, it wasn't a guy I was expecting to be back next year. And clearly, the Packers, if they did even inquire, which they did,
Jonathan Taylor
in regard to JT, yeah, I mean, clearly they know that the fall off after Aaron Jones is massive.
Yeah, I just hope that it worries me because of Aaron Jones's availability.
Which has always been a little bit of an Aaron Jones thing.
It's like it's only the third game here, and we're like, are we even going to get him back
this week?
On Sunday?
I don't think so.
So it's like, okay, here's another chance, and I guess I want to see more of Wilson. To be honest, like he only got like 5 carries on Sunday. Let's
I think it was only 3 tests.
So it's
three
like,
carries. I mean, like you mentioned, the first one he gets blown up on. He had one nice little run, I think, out of the 3, but it wasn't enough of a sample size to go, hey, you got him lathered up and he's ready to go.
I guess I'm looking for more. Yeah, 3 rushes for 5 yards. Ow. Yeah. Yikes.
Not great.
And 7 was the long, so he had 2 stuffs basically.
Yep.
So yeah, like I want to see more of that. Why not? Like put a little pressure on AJ Dillon. There's no reason for it, and you get DeGuara in there. You start doing some other stuff, some wide receiver screens. You start doing some end arounds with Jaden Reed.
Well, Jaden was great.
He was.
Talk about some of the highlights. Jaden Reed, kind of his coming out game as a rook. Dontavian Wicks,
totally
nice game. I mean, if you have all of your complement of pass catchers on the field healthy, you feel really good about the young Packer pass catchers.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice. But yeah, they're definitely gonna need another running back, and I think they'll figure out a way to have Aaron Jones back next year as well. But you're gonna need to have another like a high round pick or bring in a free agent, to complement him truly, and it could be a similar back. I mean, Algier is more of a pounder. And Bijan is a cut and just do anything kind of guy, but you don't necessarily have it be thunder and lightning. You just need 2 good running backs.
Yeah.
So you can spell Aaron Jones at a time, and vice versa, whoever the other guy is, just to take the hits off the bodies, both guys.
It's just sad that we have to now be disappointed in our running back room. It sucks. So going into the game, we discovered that Bakhtiari was out, and then during the second quarter, sometime halftime-ish, Elton Jenkins didn't come back with a knee injury. So
it's
both
an MCL sprain.
So he's out for a few weeks
on end. Yeah,
so
I mean, they said not season ender, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's put on IR here shortly, and just you'll see him maybe after the bye week.
Jeez, so brutal. When it's one or the other, you can get by and feel okay, but now they're both gone, and now you're like, okay. So that Bakhtiari, who knows? He's probably not playing this week either. He's got what he called was swelling, I think.
Well, that was the big news today.
Yeah, so it got a little heated in the locker room.
Finally available to the media. Well, guys locally and nationally ran with the whole. And I think David, what he had to say today, Tay, I think it was pointed and well said.
Yeah,
because
I do like
guys speculated on, because he made a big deal about the turf and Aaron's injury
right away. Yeah.
That suddenly he's just a scratch on Sunday, that he's saying, I don't play on turf anymore. and it became really loud, Tay.
Yeah.
This is, you listen to any Packer based, podcast or daily show, they're all saying it. They're all like just getting that fever started on this. Bakhtiari is not playing. What if this is the case?
Yeah.
Is he a poison in the locker room? Because if he sets his precedent, what is it going to, allow other players to think with,
follow suit
with the coaches, with, management? Yeah. It's going to lead a bad example. Are you going to need to just tell this guy to go home and eat his paycheck the rest of the season? I mean, all sorts of conjecture on that. when David came out, finally get to say, listen, guys, nobody talk to me.
Yeah.
Like, finally you get to hear me say it. But, the fact that you're just going to like take something and then create this whole narrative, essentially is what he said, is crazy. And that's what happened. I mean, it was really loud the last 2 days, Tay. That narrative was super loud without anything close to any confirmation. LaFleur was pissy about being asked about it. It was just something else. And David, he makes a great point. My career doesn't have a lot of years left. If I can be out there with my guys every last time, I'm going to do it, regardless of the surface. I'm paid to play football, and these are my guys. So,
and he's like,
and I do believe him. I don't think he's blown smoke up at anybody's ass. I mean, that knee we know is a problem.
Yeah,
week to week,
and I think we were given that indication
to start the season.
He's like,
he doesn't practice,
right? He's not
ever,
and it could be he could be a scratch.
Yep,
we don't know. So all of a sudden he is, and now someone connects two dots that are far apart.
Because the Aaron Buddy gets hurt on the turf, he makes and I don't think it's wrong that players want to see as much grass as possible in the NFL,
right? Because
it does pull away, it does tear away, and sometimes cleats get stuck in turf, they don't move, and it causes then all that pressure gets moved into a different area of your body, be it your calf, be it your knee. Whereas if you're on grass and it's pulling away, you can literally kind of fall out of the play. So, it was crazy, the whole David Bakhtiari thing. What'd you think about it?
I thought it was is quite hilarious. And I'm actually glad he got to speak about it because he can kind of set the tone and set the air straight here. And and would I ever think that David would not play just because of that? Like he would be like, no, I'm not playing on turf anymore. Like, I think that's ridiculous. Like he has a job to do. He's always talked about being loyal to a contract, to what his responsibilities are. And so if he were to do that, I would start thinking differently about David Bakhtiari. But it's just man, it's entertainment, and unfortunately it's reality that we're being entertained by, and it's just like, wow. Mm-hmm. It's crazy that happened.
Well, I saw guys like Zach Cruz. I mean, Zach was really honest about it, which is great. I liked his response. He says like, I maybe let myself get somewhere. I should have given it time to. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but it was an honest response too. That sometimes that can happen, but you got to respect the guys like Zach who are not afraid to say it. Mm-hmm. Where other guys will just they're not going to say anything. They're just they're there to spread the drama and the fire, and they eat off that stuff. It's
and then no responsibilities taken, and
right.
And I love though the fact that he got to say something directly to the media, and he was like, "All y'all here, like you got to do some fixing. If you did run with that story, you have to fix it now." I love that. That shows some demand for accountability by a player to the media, and like when does that ever happen?
Right.
And so it was directed.
Good, though. I mean,
I love it.
And again, like you said, a guy like Zach, and I haven't heard from the rest of the folks that did or didn't say anything. But that was the one that I did see today, so I know that he was upfront about it, and it was a good response on his part as well.
We'll have to ask Rob, our friend of the podcast, Rob, because in that
I saw him in the scrum.
In the issue, he turns left, looks at Rob, calls him Bob. Bob, you didn't run with that story, did you? And he shakes his head, no, I didn't. And then he goes back to admonishing the rest of the media. So David picked him out.
Well,
it was
David and Bob they have this little bit of a thing.
But he, in a serious moment, he looks over. Bob, you didn't run with that story, did you? And Rob's like, no, I didn't. And it's like, okay, whew. So Rob, you got out of that one. So that was kind of funny.
But yeah, they've had a funny but spicy relationship per what I know of very little bit from locker room speak and different things.
We're gonna have to ask him how he felt in that moment to be looked at
definitely
in the locker room and said,
for sure,
did you run with that story, Rob?
We're hopefully gonna talk to our friend Robert here in a few weeks.
Hopefully soon. Ren, what else do we have to say about the game? And like, I'm moving on. I'm not happy that they lost, but I'm not super upset about it. Where I look around the interwebs and I do see a lot of like, freakouts here. I'm not freaking out.
No, I'm not. Again, the people who don't know how to react, in their 20s or 30s, we're past that point. It still sucks though, Tay. I'll still say
right.
that loss by 1 point, up 12 in the fourth quarter,
Yep.
still sucks. I mean, that's one you gotta come away with the W. There's about 10 ways to Sunday. They could have done it had they done just a few different things in the fourth quarter. That's it.
Just
Tay.
a couple.
That's how close that thing was. You know, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory thing. You know, it's just it's tough to take in that respect because it was their win to have, and they let somebody else have it.
Yeah, and just a loss is a loss, but it's how you expected that or how the loss happened that can really change the way you feel about it or a team.
Well, they go back to that. What was that first drive? With the PI call that LaFleur doesn't take the timeout when they're not set.
Yeah,
and they get moved back, and then they don't even try to kick the 56-yarder.
Yep,
that's on him, man.
Yep.
I mean, stupid stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of like when you go back and there's nothing like that Seahawks game in the playoffs years ago in the NFC Championship, but there were a lot of little stupid things in that game that just could have been one of those went the other way. You get one sustained drive in the fourth quarter, or you get one better stop on the Falcons, or you kick that field goal. A lot of those little things that game was won.
It was too far away. LaFleur said it's too far. It was too far. We had
when he boomed one from 51 the week prior, and it would have made it from 65. Come on now, and you're in a dome, Tay.
It was too far.
In a dome, no wind. Yeah, come on, ridiculous.
So looking at the initial injury report that the Packers released, we kind of talked about them already a little bit. Elton Jenkins is not going to be playing. He's who knows how long he'll be out. Weeks. Bakhtiari probably not playing. Aaron Jones probably not playing. And then you have everyone else pretty much going. Christian Watson actually played this week, so he's a question.
He did some light practice, and then he was off to the side for the rest of practice.
Today, I would think he doesn't play.
It'll be weird how they handle him and Aaron if you do see both practice, even if Aaron Jones is a limited guy on Friday, right? Do you take that one, Tay, where you go, hey, let's just keep him out one more, get to Thursday, doesn't give him another week, but get to Thursday,
right?
Because then we get the mini bye after that, and you play him on Thursday. Now they each get another 10 days of rest, and then they've got, I think it's just one more game after the 10-day rest and then the bye. So it'll be interesting to see how they load management that, so to speak, on those two specific guys. Bakhtiari will also be interesting on that. I don't think he's going to play on Sunday, like you said. Will he play against Detroit? Detroit on Thursday again, quite possibly, because then he gets 10 days off afterwards. So I think the full complement's probably going to come Thursday night against the Lions, because it is a division game.
I was going to say, what's more important here, the Saints or
they're
4
both
days
conference
later?
games, but I think
you're
going to see some of that.
Yeah,
a lot of those guys get just held out and give them a few more days, because then they'll get the mini bye after that.
I think so too. So it's a good segue into the Saints, Ren, unless you got anything more to talk about. But
not really.
But the Saints coming into town, marching into town, or however you want to say it. Like, this is the first home game. They, Jordan Love has never started at home yet.
At Lambeau.
It's at Lambeau. So
it'll be big feels for Jay Love.
So I'm excited for this. I guess I'll just start right off the top. Right off the bat, I'll say there's just no way the Packers lose this game, even though they have some deficiencies at places. But I think they win this game. The Saints, however, aren't a team they're not a pushover team. They're up and coming. I think people are being surprised by them, and so yeah, it's gonna be a fighting match. But I don't think that I think the Packers come out of this, and I think maybe the coaching staff is also looking at that too, saying, like, Thursdays are more important than the Sunday game, and even if we do lose, whatever, I do think the Lions game is most important, because the division, I think, is your first goal marker, and you're not looking at division NFC stuff,
which everybody in the division is 1-1. Oh, no, the Packers are tied with the Lions at 1-1, and then the other two The Bears
yeah. Ooh,
and the
God.
Vikes are 0-2.
We got to take a diversion quick and talk about the Bears. I mean, we don't have to talk about it, but that is a
the
dumpster
drama
fire.
in Chicago.
The Bears being skinned, and that fur is going ripped apart all over the town.
I tweeted today, Tay,
holy crap!
are the Bears the new Lions?
yes.
Oh,
I think you're right, because so not only like there's some scandal with the defensive coordinator who
I don't know what that's about.
I don't know either, but he resigned.
I did hear there's potential uncomfortableness behind the scenes. We'll see what happens there.
It could be a family thing, so I don't want to I'd say it's like
until that comes out. The point is
happening.
Simply Ian Rappaport reports that the Bears defensive coordinator resigns, which he did.
Yeah, today.
This followed also a bunch of drama where Justin Fields kind of calls out, is the coaching holding him back? And then he walks that back.
Yeah.
So there's all this drama with Fields, and did he call out the coaching and how he's being coached? And is it holding him back to then saying, no, I wasn't really saying that about my coaches? So they just have all this PR stuff included along with an 0-2 start that doesn't look like win number 1 is coming anytime soon. I mean, when we were talking to Joey, you get to week 3, they're playing the Chiefs, and this thing's getting, if they don't have a win by then, it's getting ugly in a hurry. Just
before you got here, I looked, and if you guys aren't following Andy Herman on Twitter, you should do so. But he kind of commented on a thread that was out there just today about the Bears, and it went into stuff. There's like other like injury stuff going on where people are being put on IR, and like there's another roster is being like messed with and depleted in a lot of areas. So people are, the team is down. I think there was a report on like the safety. I'm probably getting this wrong, but the safety's coming out saying like, I'm just sick of losing, like comments like that. And
this thing could get really bad. Yeah.
So things are on fire in Chicago.
Hallis Hall, I think as Joey tweeted out, just another average day at Hallis Hall. I think he said today, meaning like, wow, this is
Hallis Hall.
Hallis Hall.
Hallis Hall now.
Yeah, Hell's Hall. Yeah, I mean it's not good down in Chi-Town for the Bears.
No.
They better bear down because this is.
They need to go hibernate right now.
Yes,
I mean I can't.
They're going to be in hibernation. I mean maybe they're playing for that first pick, and the USC quarterback. What is it? Caleb somebody. Yeah. Caleb Richardson, is that his name? I'm not sure, but he's like supposed to be the real deal. So Justin may also be playing his last 15 games in Chicago here shortly.
I mean, I can't kind of take the smirk off my face when we're talking about this.
It's funny, Tay. I mean, it's been going that way for so long. It doesn't seem like they hire a Ryan after Ryan after Ryan at general manager, and it just doesn't work out, and the coaches don't work out, and it's like they just can't seem to get anything to stick anywhere they put it. And it's they're getting to be like, hey, I give you credit for being a Bear fan, because it's the same thing I always said about the Lions. I give a lot of credit for those Lion fans, they sticking with their team and going through all that for all those years. But
now we have a new adversary, I think, in the division with the Lions, but I guess we can save that for later because we play them twice this year, so we can talk about that.
Both on Thursdays. A week from tomorrow, Tay, and on Thanksgiving morning. Ugh. Not good.
So, but the Saints come to town before that. So, really the only things that I know about the Saints is that they're decent, like they're not to be underestimated. They have some players that have potential. And you don't really know what you're going to get. People are kind of high on them as an up and coming franchise and team. It seems to me like they're still in transition, but maybe I'm behind the times with that. But I always feel like they're kind of like still kind of going through those, like we're still post Breeze era here, trying to figure ourselves out, that kind of thing. They have some weapons on offense, but is that going to really make it happen for them? I don't know. Derek Carr is there, right? And so it's like he was mediocre and got pushed out of Oakland or Las Vegas. So I don't know what to think about him. Of course, the Swiss Army knife Taysom Hill He seems to get a lot of work. And now that Jamal Williams is now not going to play, which is unfortunate because I love
Well,
Jamal.
SpongeBob action, yeah. The aforementioned Jamal Williams, he's got a hamstring issue, which we know how those linger. Speaking of our guy, our running back here, Aaron Jones, his old battery mate, and then Christian Watson. Those things take a little while to get healed up.
Well, that's what Romeo Dobbs had as well, right? So, yeah, the Saints, not to be, overlooked or underestimated, but I'm sure you've done a little bit of research to share with the universe, Ren.
Yeah, Tay, the 2-0 Saints are, marching into Lambeau for opening week here in Green Bay. Highlighted, Tay, by the Saturday night Scott Weiland-less Stone Temple Pilots and Collective Soul concert. If you're getting up to Titletown for that, Tay, on Saturday night. So they do roll in town after having beaten the Panthers and Titans. Not two juggernauts by any means themselves in two teams. I think the Saints, Tay, are a lot like the Packers in the sense that they are trying to figure out who they are. They're kind of, at this point in time, and same with the Packers, kind of mediocre, kind of middle of the road. Yep. Do some things really, really well, do some things not so great. These two teams are going to match up, I think, pretty close. I think, when we get to a point spread score kind of thing, we'll talk about that kind of at the end, get your pick. But they had some big news in Saints land today. I believe that was today that their starting safety, Marcus May, suspended 3 games by the NFL for violating the NFL substance abuse policy. That was announced today here on Wednesday. As you mentioned, the aforementioned Jamal Williams going to be out, still without Alvin Kamara in that backfield, Tay. One of their rookie running backs that is released today. That leaves them, Tay, with, the old guy that is kind of the Swiss Army knife in Taysom Hill, and Tony Jones Jr. as really the junior. There are only 2 available running backs come Sunday. So they're really thin there, Tay. This offense, they got a 3-headed monster at wide receiver with the oft injured but finally getting healthy this year, Michael Thomas. We all are familiar with him over the years. Rashid Shaheed, Tay, caught a big night, probably Derek Carr's only good pass, deep pass last week, went to him down the sidelines. And then the budding superstar in Chris Olave. Those 3 receivers get it done for that offense. That's where it gets tough, comes to the Packers' secondary play. I mean, when you're looking at that from the defensive standpoint with the Packers, because they should hopefully be able to keep this running game to less than 100 yards based on what they're facing, because it's not much. Yeah, so if they give up a bunch of yards on the ground this Sunday, Tay, people aren't going to be happy with Mr. Berry, because there's no excuse with the lineup that they're running out at running back for the Saints, Tay. Olave 198 yards on the year already through 2 games. Shaheed 152 and Thomas 116. That is 86.1% of the Saints' 541 receiving yards on the season. 86%. So the ball doesn't go much elsewhere than those 3 guys today. When Carr's dropping back to pass, he pretty much dinks and dunks, takes those what the defense gives him. He's not so great going downfield. Not that dissimilar to Jordan at this point in his career. Where the Saints are good is on defense day. They have the number 2 pass D in the league, led by Marshawn Lattimore. We're all familiar with Marshawn, obviously. Carl Granderson's had a sack in each game. As far as that goes, let's see. The combined play of the defense, which is 4th in yards allowed, 262, tied for 5th in points, 32, is a big reason that they are 2-0 on the season. It really goes to their defense, not that offense. The offensive line is another weak spot. We're talking about, should the Packers play that run or lack of run game for the Saints? Well, yes. Carr was sacked 4 times and 7 pressures by the Panthers on Monday night. So they're coming off a shorter week when they get to Green Bay for 12 noon Sunday. And that O-line in pass protection has given up a ton of pressure today. So I'd like to see a performance more like the Packers had against the Bears when 12 different guys on defense, again, 11 starters, but 12 guys had a pressure, at least one pressure in that game. I like to see them get after it and force Carr, who throws some gimme balls occasionally. Like he threw one really bad one against the Panthers to get a few of those and actually catch him this time this week. That would be real nice. So again, big thing is their front line is very, very good. Saints D line, good. Saints pass D, good. Saints offense, pretty Saints wide receivers, good. That's about it. So those are the three places they really play well. And then everywhere else, they're pretty average to below average. And I'd say the quarterback play is pretty average at best.
Yeah. I've been this year historically low on points that I predicted for the Packers, although they have scored a lot more than I anticipated. So I guess for the score here, Ren, I'm going to go with a win because that's what I said before. The Packers win this one. I think they're going to win. I'm going to just throw out 30-17 Packers over Saints at home week 3.
That's a lot of points again, Tay. I'm going to dial that one back. I'm going to go 23-17 Packers over the Saints.
Okay. So not a couple scores, a few scores, and
some
field goal.
Anders Carlson field goals mixed in, Tay.
If he gets the chance, he might take a delay a game, and then
as long as Matt's willing to call a timeout. Those timeouts are pretty precious at times.
How do you think the coaching staff is going to be? Like we usually most of the time we talk about the players, but what do you think the coaching staff? Do you think they're going to be on ball here? They're going to be I think dialed in.
I think Matt needs.
You can tell
some of his play calling against the Falcons seemed a little bit blasé. He didn't seem to do enough. I mean, I think Musgrave had two catches on 3 targets. Didn't get him involved enough. That was disappointing. I think they need to mix it up a little bit. Sure, it was interesting to see him go with the flea flicker to start the game.
Yeah.
From there, the rest of the play calling was pretty boring.
Yeah.
I think you got to let guys like Reed with those quick drop passes. Those, get it out to him, get him in space, and let him cook. I think that is a good way to get this offense down the field. Obviously, if you have Christian back, hopefully they have a couple wrinkles tied in. I mean, it doesn't have to be the super bombs yet, but remember him getting out in space against the Eagles in the middle of the field and letting his speed just do its thing. I just hope they come with a little bit more, few extra wrinkles, couple surprises, and again, hopefully they're saying we're going to play pretty big up front and play man, and let Derek Carr beat you, man. It's tough, but the Packers generally their defensive backs seem to play better in man. And you got a hand, Jair's going to be probably trailing Olave all game, but
he can shut him down.
Shaheed's not nothing to sneeze at. And obviously the wily vet and Thomas, they're going to have their hands full, but I think they can accomplish that task.
Are you going to the game?
I am not. I will be out of town, Tay.
We
are soccer parents now. We have soccer tournament out of town, Tay.
Okay.
In Verona, Wisconsin. So
okay, that's down
traveling competitive
or west of Madison.
Yeah, competitive soccer.
Nice. Well, if you do go to the Packer game, then this is, I guess, a public service announcement, and it's been all over, social media. But if you go to the game, you need to update your Green Bay Packers mobile app because you will not be able to show your tickets to get in without updating your app. You have to do it. And Ren is showing me his thing. It says new.
If you see new up in the corner, you'll know your app is up to date.
It is. It's new. So if it says new, you are
up in the right-hand corner of the app. It'll point at your account.
Yeah, and say,
yes.
Boom. So you have to do that. Otherwise, you're going to be...
Because there are going to be a lot of people fumbling with their phones.
Yeah. And
as they get in the stadium, it's not going to be working. I don't know how. Like somebody brought that up today. Like how do they get this public announcement out?
Week 3.
hey, we've had 2 weeks before the first home game. You should probably been reminding people week 1, hey, week 3 is going to be coming up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Week 2, it's coming up next week. And now here we are like, hey, by the way, you got to make sure you run app updates because
I mean,
your tickets won't show up in app.
This is interesting because usually the tickets are mailed to people.
But they haven't been for years.
No,
they've been
haven't.
paperless.
But this is the first time I've ever heard this coming up. Like, you have to actually update the app, otherwise we can't see your tickets. This is new territory. This is a new thing, and I hope it doesn't blow up in their face. They're trying to get ahead of it, but like you said, it's a little late in the game to be reminding people.
Yeah, not so good. Sometimes the Packer PR machine there at 1265 needs a younger, hipper on top of kind of like, I don't know what they're doing because their social media stuff isn't great, and just this kind of public relations stuff. Like, but
strange.
Public relations,
strange.
is that
Public
the
relations?
meddlers? Kind of like he hires those people? Is those some of his underlings?
Yeah, the meddler. He should be
He's
on
that
top of
PR
this.
guy, right?
Yeah, I didn't see him talk about.
He should be
this.
going door to door.
Yeah.
You know, everybody looking at their app. Meddler knocks on the door and, hey, you got your app up to date here? Okay. Thanks, Mark.
See here, Ryan.
On to the next one.
All right. I got nothing else, Ren. How about you?
I don't, Tay. It was a fun episode. I think we did some good recap of that. Again, disappointing, not infuriating, but
Right.
disappointing. Week 2 loss against a team that they should have beat.
Yeah.
Again, kind of like them, kind of in the middle of the road, trying to find themselves, just like a team they'll face again with another NFC South opponent. We'll see what happens, Tay. How about you?
Yeah, no, I got nothing. I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm excited to have the season move along here and to watch what this team can become. We appreciate everyone listening. We appreciate everyone subscribing and supporting us however you can. So thank you.
And I look forward, Tay, before we let ourselves go, just hearing that crowd get full throat for Jordan Love's first start at Lambeau. And we'll get to talk about that next time until episode 241, Tay, on the Pup.
Falcons.